Hey, it's Monday, time for Financial Focus. Our analyst Steve Budin joins us right now to talk about a bunch of things. First, we want to talk about this budget deal. An agreement to kind of avoid a government shutdown next month has been reached apparently, right?
Right. It's a deal in principle. It hasn't been signed yet. And with all the craziness in Washington, I wouldn't bet on it until it's actually signed.
Okay, so what do we need to be thinking, watching, feeling?
really, we've seen this movie before, right? They get up to the edge of the cliff, and basically the government can run out of money by the end of September unless they raise the debt ceiling. What the debt ceiling basically is, think of it as a credit limit. So the U.S. government has a credit limit of a certain amount of money. They keep borrowing and spending. So they need to raise that limit through an act of Congress to keep borrowing more. And that's what they're working on right now. And they've worked out a potential deal where they won't have to worry about this for 2 years. My issue is they just keep spending more and more money. They're borrowing, and nobody seems to be able to want to stop it. And we'll see if Congress goes along.
Okay, let's talk about this middle class survey. Really interesting because it says middle class not feeling as good as a few months ago. But I was telling you, I kind of felt like the middle class was feeling really good about the economy. It seemed to be the reaction over the last year.
Right, and that seems to be the disconnect. The economic numbers say that the economy is strong, like we were talking about off camera, but surveys of the middle class, and they define middle class 30,000 to 120,000 of income. Less than 50%, it's a little bit sobering. They have a less optimistic view of their financial future than they did about a year ago. So as the political campaign kicks into higher gear, you're going to see more and more of these policy initiatives aimed at the middle class, but the reality and the psychology seem to be not connected.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, this one interesting too. We wanted to spend a little more time on it. Top 5 buyer's remorse things. 5 things buyers regret buying. So timeshares, I get that.
That was the one you guessed.
Yes, weddings, I understand. RVs, fixer-uppers. So, I mean, a lot of different things. But the wedding thing, I think people overspend, and that's what they're probably saying,
And we all go through this. You buy something, usually a big-ticket item, right? If you buy a cup of coffee, very rarely do you have buyer's remorse.
Right.
But you may buy a high-ticket item and then say to yourself, what was I thinking?
Right.
And put the weddings aside for a second because there's numerous issues as to why you would regret getting married, right?
Right.
But when it comes to RVs or fixer-uppers, you know, those home repair shows are very popular. The common theme running through a lot of these things is the cost of ownership. A lot of folks will maybe buy a timeshare, buy a new car, buy a home, and they don't realize how expensive it may be to maintain these things. So I'm not saying don't go out and buy these things, but sometimes you lose sight of what it costs to keep them.
Right.
And that's where people will sometimes get in over their heads, and that's when you get upset and feel that remorse.
And then also, I'm assuming being persuaded into something. I mean, the timeshare people are good. I'm not going to lie. I've gone on a couple, you know.
get the free meal when you go to the
and then
presentation.
Sometimes they even offer you a free weekend, you know. Get on the golf cart, look around at the property. All right, I'm in. Sounds great. And then you're like, wait, what was I thinking?
Right, and they don't tell you after the fact how much it'll cost to maintain it, right? And therein lies the problem.
All right.
So just be careful.
Okay, got it. Steve Budin, thanks so much as always. You're taking a 2-week break, right?
I'll be back in a couple of weeks.
All right, you got to get ready. You got to get all your time off in before back to school.
I promise I'll do my best.
Okay, lots of people will be spending money buying school supplies, that's for sure. Stay with us. We're back after this.